Good afternoon and happy Monday, Middle Georgia. I'm meteorologist Aaron Lowry. As we head into the new week, we are starting it off on a wet note with some rain tonight and thunderstorms tomorrow. We need to get into this because there are expecting to be some strong to severe thunderstorms tomorrow. Let's go ahead and get into this. Rain tonight could get heavy at times, but not really worried about severe threats there, though it could lead to an extra bit of a boost for a flash flooding threat as we get into tomorrow. So that is going to be something to take into account. Then we get into tomorrow morning around 9 a.m. line of storms begins to make its way into the region. We're dealing with this all through the lunchtime hours and then into the evening for those of us further off to the southeast. Some strong wind expected with this line. That's going to probably be our main severe threat for tomorrow. Will be straight line winds followed by a tornado threat. But let's go ahead and start with this severe threat. Here's today's. We're all along the Gulf Coast. Level 3 out of 5. Includes places like Houston, New Orleans, Mobile. The weather's kind of active over that way a little bit. We'll show up everything with the lightning there in just a second. Here's what we're seeing right now in South Alabama. Just some storms here. Nothing severe about these. But there's a decent amount of lightning with them. As for Georgia, a couple of light showers further off to the south. No big deal at this time. But we're tracking quite the mess coming in from the west. Louisiana currently seeing the most activity, I'd argue, followed by Texas. So definitely going to be something to watch as we continue through tonight and especially into tomorrow morning. Here is your Tuesday severe weather risk in Middle Georgia. Unfortunately, level 3 out of 5 includes most of us here in Middle Georgia, really just the northwestern counties in that level 2, but this area could potentially expand depending on what happens today. So it will be something to follow over in Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana. How are things panning out there? Let's start with our wind threat for tomorrow, right? Like I said, that's our driving number 1 threat here, and you can see that's basically the shape of that level 3 risk that we were just looking at. It's almost entirely in regards to wind. We're talking more than 30% chance for more than 2/3 of our region to deal with a severe wind gust tomorrow. So we're talking sustained winds of 50 to 60 miles per hour-ish and gusts that could be over 70. So definitely some strong wind potential. Then it comes, here's a closer look at that again. Southeastern 2/3 of the region. Hail, not worried about hail. They can keep that off to the southwest, so that's good news there. But unfortunately, there is a tornado threat here. Let's get a closer look at what we're dealing with. All right, so northwestern parts of the region, Macon, Gray, Forsyth, we're talking about 2% odds. Not great, but still higher than 0. So still want to be weather aware, but that risk definitely higher further off to the south. The highest, Vienna, Cordele, Abbeville, were in that 10% tornado zone, where they not even just a tornado, but even a strong tornado potential. So definitely want to be weather aware. Know your safe space, basement, interior room, no windows, lowest floor. Surround yourself with blankets. That's the type of thing you want to do if you have any sorts of warnings or whatnot. That's going to probably be the most likely region to deal with that. But those of us for the southeast, Dublin, Soberton, McRae, that line probably will be intensifying a bit more as it gets to that area. Let's go ahead and check this out, right? So overnight, I mentioned we're expecting some widespread rain odds here. And then it's going to start to slow down a little bit as we get into tomorrow morning. And this is where we're going to probably see a shift from rain to thunderstorm activity. Now, the earlier the line gets here, the better, because then you have cooler conditions that limit potential. But this is the type of setup where you don't need too much heat. We got a lot of wind shear in place. You see these wind gusts coming in from the southeast. This is my big concern with this as we go into tomorrow, is south-southeast winds with this as the line comes in. You don't like that. I don't like that because that leads to more rotation potential. All right? The winds with the cold front are going to be coming in from the northwest and the west, right? So if you got wind aloft out of the west, you'd want your surface wind to be from like the same direction to limit the rotation potential. But if I suddenly have that wind coming from the southeast, they're opposite directions, so you get more rotation, all right? That's why the potential for that tornado threat, unfortunately, is there. This is very much being shear driven. So we head into tomorrow morning, and this is mainly going to be the line coming through. We're just doing a zoom view right now. We're going to put this in bigger perspective in just a second. But it's this line coming in, and straight line winds are the biggest threat with this. But you see this line isn't straight. It's kind of bendy. that's where your tornado threat's really going to come in for us. I don't think it's going to so much be the discrete out front supercell storms. It's going to be the embedded tornadoes. But even still, you can get some of those that last a while. They can still be kind of strong. We see this moving out of here ahead of supper time tomorrow, so that's some great news. But it will remain rather windy on the backside of this for some time. We got a wind advisory in effect for the entire state, basically, until tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. That's just for tonight's winds. And then any strong winds tomorrow, those are just going to really be associated with storms. So here is a wider look at what we're seeing for the whole state. As mentioned tonight, really looking like a mess there. But then all of a sudden, we start to see into tomorrow morning, right? And you see that line setting up off to the west. You've got these strong wind gusts coming in from the south-southeast here. There's not a whole lot being indicated about storms out front. You do see a couple of those starting to develop in the eastern parts of middle Georgia. So that is something that we may have to worry about in, say, like Dublin, Vidalia. Maybe there we see a slightly increased odds for supercell potential. But you look at the line as a whole, and notice how that line guts as it heads into the Carolinas later in the afternoon. How it starts splitting up and looking bent like that. Arguably, that's going to be even higher risk for those further off to the east because things are going to be warmer outside than when this comes through here. But either way, still looks rather intense as it comes into middle Georgia, and we want to be weather aware tomorrow. So hope this is informative. Stay safe, and we'll have more for you tonight at 5, 5:30, and 6, and 11.